Hi, good everyone. So today we are going to cover subtopic 5.3 solid. So let's have a look at the learning outcome. So for this subtopic, we have three. The first one is to explain the process of freezing, melting, sublimation, and deposition. And then we have a look at the difference between the amorphous and crystalline solid, and then the type of crystalline solid. However, for this video, we are only covering the first part dahulu. Okay, kita nak tengok proses freezing, melting, sublimation dengan deposition dahulu. Okay, so properties of solid. So particles are arranged closely together, rigidly. Okay, they are very closely packed to one another, so they can only vibrate and rotate in a fixed position. So the particles, they are fixed in their own position in comparison to liquid, because liquid is also arranged closely together but not rigidly. Okay, and then they have a rigid arrangement, so they are unable to move freely. Then it has a definite shape and also a volume, and then it has a strong forces between the particles, and it has high densities then, since the mass is higher in comparison to the volume of the particle. So since there are less space between the particles, therefore it is incompressible. So in principle, solid, liquid and gas states are interconvertible. So kalau daripada solid to liquid, it is a melting process. Liquid to gas is a vaporization, whereby vaporization terbahagi lagi kepada dua. We have evaporation and boiling. Okay, and then daripada solid to gas, it is what we call as the sublimation. And daripada gas to liquid, that is a condensation process. Liquid to solid is a freezing process, and gas to solid, we can also call it as a sublimation, but there's a new term here, we call it as the deposition. But if you want to call it a sublimation pun masih okay je sebenarnya. Okay, so freezing process, or it is also known as a solidification. So a liquid, it changes into solid when the temperature of a liquid is lowered. So temperature lowered down, so kinetic energy of liquid decreases, then it will move slower kan bila dia punya temperature turun. So the liquid particles, they vibrate at a lower rate. So a point is reached when the intermolecular forces are strong enough to hold the particles together in a fixed and orderly arrangement. So initially mungkin dia bergerak freely, tapi as the temperature lower down, so it becomes it becomes slower. So at some point, bila the interaction forces dia sangat kuat with one another, so dia akan berada dekat a fixed position. Okay, so that is how we describe the freezing process. And then the liquid freezes then. Okay, so it becomes solid. Okay, kalau melting process pula, it is also known as a fusing process. So when a solid substance is heated, so now temperature increases, so the solid particle, they gains energy. So bila dia gains energy, bermaksud dia akan move faster then. So the particles therefore are able to vibrate faster and more energetic as at its melting point. So the particle possess enough energy to overcome the attractive forces between them. So that's why bila dia solid, once dia start bergerak lagi laju, at some point bila dia dah ada enough energy, dia boleh overcome the intermolecular forces, pop, dia jadi benda lain. So in this particular process, melting kan, so daripada solid dia jadi liquid then. So the particles are able to move freely, so the solid changes to liquid. Okay, and then sublimation process pula. So sublimation process, kita skip apa? So sepatutnya daripada solid dia jadi liquid and dia jadi gas kan, but then dia skip dekat bahagian liquid part tu. So from solid terus dia jadi gas je. So the process by which a substance changes directly from solid phase to gaseous phase without passing through the liquid phase. Okay, so the surface particle of solid have enough energy to break away from solid and escape as a gas. Okay, so initially dia rapat macam ni, tapi once dia gain enough energy, dia terus overcome the intermolecular process, dia terus jadi gas particle. Meanwhile, deposition process should be the other way around in comparison to the sublimation just now. So process where molecules from vapor ataupun gas phase, they change directly to the solid phase without entering the liquid phase juga. Okay, so this is basically the opposite of the sublimation process. So the gas particle, so initially dia laju, tapi eventually bila the temperature menurun, so dia akan lose energy. So bila dia lose energy, so dia akan move slower, dan so bila dia move slower, attraction forces akan makin kuat, so dia akan stick together nanti. Okay, so dia akan tukar jadi solid lah lepas tu. So characteristic of gases, liquid and solids, and the microscopic explanation for the behavior. So basically in terms of shape and volume, kalau gas, no definite shape and volume. Okay, they follow the shape and the volume of the container. Meanwhile kalau liquid pula, it has a definite volume. Okay, since the particle are quite closely packed to one another, but then they still doesn't have a definite shape lah. It still follows the shape of container. However, solids, since they are arranged in a orderly manner, okay, very closely to one another, therefore it has a definite shape and a volume then. Okay, so in terms of compressibility pula, gas is very compressible due to the large spaces between the gas particle, so it is compressible. However, for liquid and solid, they both doesn't have any like free space that much, so liquid is almost incompressible. Okay, solid is basically incompressible. Okay. Right, and then the next one adalah kita tengok in terms of dia punya ini, dia flow easily as the particle can move past one another due to other spaces tu kan, so dia boleh move easily. Tapi kalau liquid pula, they still flow easily as the particles can move slide past one another. Okay, dia masih boleh bergerak tapi not as fast as a gas particle. Okay, meanwhile solid, bolehkah? Dia bolehkah nak slide one another? Okay, ini tak lah. Okay, it does not flow easily since the arrangement of the particles is very rigid. Okay, so that's it for the properties of kita punya solid particle, and kita terus comparison juga, kita comparekan juga dengan the gas dengan liquid. Okay, alright, bye bye.